Hello, my name is Richard Rigali. I'm president of Assisted Rehab, a Baltimore-based rehab agency. Today I wish to take a few moments out of your day to discuss fitness and health. So before we do so, we are under time constraints, so it's basically an overview. Perhaps maybe it could help you modify an existing program, or for those who have been wanting to start but haven't yet, maybe this will be the icing on the cake to get you there. We're going to be discussing aerobic activity or cardiovascular, weight training, and flexibility. Now, I think it's very important for each of us to take care of our own health because we are in a health field. We're taking care of people, their needs, day to day, but if we don't fulfill our needs, we're not going to be of any use to them. So it's very important that you take care of yourself first before you can take care of others.
Okay, let's begin with the most important element of all this is your aerobic or cardiovascular workout. If you're going to do any of these, this is the number one because this is the one that will help you with any weight loss should you choose that. It also helps you on medical aspects and gives you day-to-day more energy, which we all could use more of. So with that said, it's important to understand that this is 3 days a week. You're going to have to do it at a minimum. Each time anticipate approximately 45 minutes for your routine. And the routines can vary, but in general, you're going to stick with the elements of either walking or jogging, use of a treadmill, a bicycle, ellipticals are becoming very popular, or swimming. Your routine would begin with the first 5 minutes doing that activity to build the heart rate up. You build it up to where you're in your target heart rate zone. Once you get in that zone at minute number 5, you need to maintain that level of intensity, and that's what it really is, work output or intensity, for 30 minutes. That's where the metabolic changes happen. At the end of 30 minutes, you're going to do the reverse of your warm-up, which is about 5 minutes of your cool down, allowing your body to work its way down without getting stressed. Now, prior to doing these, you can take a few minutes of stretching. It's a different kind of stretch that I'll talk about later. It's one in which you're just trying to prepare the muscles that you're going to use to be able to perform the activity. So keep in mind, again, this is the number one activity that you need to be doing in all your exercises if you're going to do anything. It is cardiovascular. It's going to give you the energy each day. It can help with weight loss, blood sugar, and medical management.
Okay, let's talk about strength training exercises. I'm not a big advocate of machines. Machines make you work in one plane of action, which can stress the joints. I like functional activities the best. I'm going to name 4 things that can do your entire body. Only one requires a bar, which is a pull-up bar. I think free weights are wonderful if you have free weights around because they don't stress the joints as much. But let's focus on now just the basics of what you can do at home. 3 days a week is preferable. You can get away with 2 days a week. The amount of sets and repetitions of each activity, I recommend 3 sets, about 45 seconds rest between each set of 12 to 15 repetitions. So the first activity we can talk about is doing squats or semi-squats if your knees bother you. So most people know what that is. Very simple activity, involves all the muscles in the lower body. Going to do about 12 to 15 of those, rest 45 seconds, do another set, then another. The next is lunges. Now sometimes these bother people's knees, so you could do what is called a reverse lunge. Same thing, 3 sets, 12 to 15 repetitions. Now the upper body, love push-ups. Push-ups do the arms, you do the chest, you do the shoulders. You do most everything for you in one activity. Push-ups, big advocate of. And finally, there's the only one that requires a little bit of equipment is a pull-up bar. You can do pull-ups or chin-ups. Now, you may have to put a chair underneath there to assist with your legs if you can't do a full pull-up and just do what I call a modified version of that, where you're using your arms as much as possible. Those 4 exercises encompass your whole body because we need to remain functional. If you haven't done exercises in a while, anticipate getting stronger, a little bit of soreness in the beginning, no big deal, but you're going to get stronger. But going forward, we're going to need to maintain our strength in order to be functionally active day to day.
Okay, last thing I like to touch base on is stretching and a little bit of dietary. So stretching, depending on whatever muscle group you're using, you have to understand it should be a little discomforting, but not painful. When you get into a position of stretching, once you feel that little discomfort, hold that position for about 45 seconds to a minute. Then relax, shake it out if it's your leg, your arm, whatever it may be, and then do it again. You can even do 3 sets of that, just like we talked about before, but 2 sets is enough. But the most important is to hold it for about 45 seconds to a minute. When you stretch to warm up for, say, an aerobic activity or weight training, that's very different. You're not sustaining a stretch. You're holding that for about 5 seconds, maybe 10. That's a warm-up. That can even be what they call ballistic, a little bit of bouncing to warm up the muscle. Static stretching, where you're holding and maintaining that position for about 45 seconds to a minute, that's what gives you prolonged elasticity. That's what's going to be most important for you for day to day. And one of the areas that get tight as we get older that are concerning is your hips and your calves. Those are the 2 big ones. So you want to keep stretching the calves. You'll hear people falling, sometimes catching a toe on a carpet. Well, that's because the calves are very tight. And your hips, they start getting a stoop posture. So you want to stretch those 2 muscle groups, if any. The last thing I like to touch base a little about dietary really is water, hydration. I mean, the elderly population almost always come back with a diagnosis of dehydration. But the rest of us are walking that line too most of the day. Keep drinking water, 4 to 6 full glasses of water, minimal. As far as nutrition and weight loss, well, if you drink about 10-ounce glass of water 5 minutes before you eat, you're not going to eat as much. What diet may work best? If you want to lose weight, it's really the one that works for you. I'm an advocate of fasting, 16 hours no eating, 8 hours you eat. I think it's wonderful. So you can look into fasting. Otherwise, as far as the diet is concerned, just go with what works for you is what works. Or simply common sense. Avoid fast foods, things with a lot of sugar or sodium for that matter. I hope you find these things helpful. It's very important, once again, in your professional life as your personal. You can't have too much energy and you can't be too healthy. Live long and prosper.